Mark Green, House Foreign Affairs member, former Army Ranger, and Special Operations Flight Surgeon in the Army's 160th. Congressman, you listened to Antony Blinken saying that Putin wants to overthrow Ukraine. At this point, is there any reason to believe that the Ukrainians are going to be able to stop him?
Well, I don't think so, Leland. I mean, if you look at the overmatch Russia brings to this fight, it's substantial. I will say that I've not been impressed with the way they've coordinated their attacks. I would have thought they would have been much farther along than they are, but they still have significant overmatch. What this will turn into eventually is an insurgency that could last for years. I don't want to say that Russia's going to win, but they're definitely going to take over the capital.
Yeah, this is from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Ukraine, just in the past couple of minutes. Horrific Russian rocket strikes on Kyiv. Last time our capital experienced anything like this was 1941, when it was attacked by Nazi Germany. Ukraine defeated that evil and will defeat this one. Stop Putin, isolate Russia, sever all ties, kick Russia out of everywhere. You and I talked a couple of hours ago, and we made the comparison to Hitler in 1938 and his justifications for going into Czechoslovakia and how the world capitulated and ignored him until it was almost too late, to now Vladimir Putin using the same logic and the same arguments to invade Ukraine. This time, Vladimir Putin has nuclear weapons. He says he wants to take over much of Russia, much of Europe, to turn back into the Soviet Union and a larger mother Russia. Is it too late to confront him?
No, I think we can actually step up to the plate. The president could step up to the plate, flip the switch on SWIFT transactions, shut down their economy, shut down their energy sector, and we would stop him. I mean, the Russian people would not tolerate that.
Congressman, President Biden issued those stiff sanctions against Russia, even stiffer today, the top U.S. banks, Russian oligarchs, but has yet to deter Vladimir Putin from his actions in this invasion. Why not put sanctions on Putin himself at this point? Have we not yet reached a step where that appears to be necessary?
You know, Marnie, I would have thought that would have happened days ago. I have no comprehension on why President Biden has not put sanctions on Putin himself. This is coming from Vladimir Putin. I saw a video clip today of a woman with her child in her arms as a Russian missile or rocket hit her home. This is all Vladimir Putin. The blood of these people, it's on the hands of Vladimir Putin. World, meet Vladimir Putin. This guy is a tyrant. He is a murderer. And it's just unconscionable that the president of the United States hasn't even sanctioned him. It makes no sense, no logic whatsoever.
So that would be one step. What further steps do you and your colleagues in Washington believe will alter the course of what has unfolded as a violent attack on the Ukrainian people?
The massive part of Russia's economy is their oil and gas. If you shut down their oil and gas, and to do that, you'd have to turn on our oil and gas so that we could supply Europe's needs. So the president would actually have to compete, turn our economy back into a free market for oil, allow it to, go back to where it was under President Trump. We could meet that need, and then we could shut down Russia's economy completely. And if we take them off the SWIFT transactions, the banking transactions, they can't buy anything from anyone. I mean, you can't trade if you can't do a banking transaction. So, we could stop them. We could put this.
Congressman, you can kick Vladimir Putin out of the U.S. and Western economy by delisting him from SWIFT. You can't kick him out of the Chinese economy. And much like the Nazi Germany and the Japanese got together, you have Vladimir Putin teaming up with Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping has goods and services to sell to the Russians. The Russians have oil that the Chinese need. And they all can be happy that you've got Vladimir Putin who can take over Ukraine. And you got to think that Xi Jinping's licking his chops to take over Taiwan. The Chinese almost would love us to delist him because it would make the Russians more reliant on them.
Look, if we're waiting or think we're going to somehow block this friendship between Xi and Vladimir, it's too late. The toothpaste is out of the tube. They are already partnered up. Xi Jinping flew, fighter jets into Taiwanese airspace. This alignment is done. Thinking that we're going to somehow push them closer, I don't see that we could get them any closer. You listen to the way Xi and his foreign minister responded to this invasion.
They won't call it an invasion, actually.
Yeah, they won't even call it an invasion. It's like they're settling an issue in the region, or words to that effect.
Congressman, Fort Campbell on the border of Kentucky and Tennessee, your state, has sent a contingent of soldiers to Europe to bolster NATO forces. At this point, the president has said that American troops are just there to serve as receiving refugees, to support our NATO allies. Do you foresee, heaven forbid, a scenario where U.S. troops will engage?
If you're talking about Ukraine, I don't think there's the will for that in America. And you can never, we did this in Vietnam, you can never commit American soldiers when the will of the American people aren't with them. So in Ukraine, no. Can we train Ukrainians, supply Ukrainians, defend NATO? Absolutely. And I think that's what the president is doing with the troop movements. Remember, one of the levers is Putin doesn't want American troops on his border. And what he's getting is a lot more American troops on his border. That is one small win for us.
Congressman Mark Green, we appreciate you joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.